Stefano Caselli is the Dean of SDA Bocconi School of Management and is a professor of banking and finance at Bocconi University in Milan, Italy. And also Gianmaria, founder and CEO of U Capital, a fintech group of companies, also Italian. And welcome, it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
So, Stefano, let's start with you. There's an international business conference in New York. Explain your role there and what will be discussed at this conference.
It is a great moment tomorrow because the concept, let me say, is to discuss about the bridge. We need to bridge more and more European economy towards the US system and also the contrary. I believe that in this bridge there are a lot of opportunities as we live in a world where to sustain and to enhance the growth of GDP is the mantra, let me say, on the two sides of the ocean. For US, in a certain sense, it is the destiny of US to grow. On the other way around, in Europe, it's fundamental to consolidate this issue of growth, not only because we are exiting from the pandemic and we are obviously navigating into, let me say, a complex system, but also because the GDP is really the way to generate more wealth, more innovation, more employment, so it's key aspects. In Europe, we have an extraordinary potential because we have, let me say, tons of small and medium enterprises. In most of cases, family-owned. They have an incredible potential. They have very, very good figures, but they need, obviously, to look for opportunities related to investors, but not only to investors, to markets, to multiply the potential they have. So this is the sense of bridge. We have to work for a bridge because at the end of the day, in every part of the world, we have two different players. On the one end, we have investors looking for upside, looking for internal rate of return because it's crucial for pension funds, for insurance companies. And in a certain sense, you know, these investors have to satisfy their appetite. On the other hand, we have a lot of potential in small and medium enterprises, new projects, new ideas, and it's fundamental to create this bridge. In Europe, we need to have in mind that in the last 2 years, the European Commission launched this recovery and resilience facility. It's an incredible way to sustain investment into renewable energies, into new infrastructure. It's not just simply a story of money given by the European Commission to the different countries, but it's a way to create a sort of mainstream to facilitate, let me say, new business, new ideas. So we have a potential, and it's fundamental to connect, again, the two sides of the ocean to generate more value.
Do you feel like there's a lot of missed opportunities because we're not connected enough? Like, say, a US investor may not know of everything going on in Europe and vice versa?
Let me say, we know each other. Many US investors are looking for global opportunities, and Europe is a great playground. On the other hand, European companies perfectly know the power of US investor, but yes, there is a long way. So some opportunities are on the ground, but missing opportunities are much bigger than the opportunities we are using. So we have to create, let me say, the right way to have a connection. It's fundamental that this kind of interaction will become, let me say, much more fluent, much more flexible, and much more continuous.
Yeah, and I want to bring Gianmaria in. You're the founder and CEO of U Capital.
Yeah.
First, explain U Capital and explain how it can bridge. It can be a bridge between the US and Europe.
Yeah, sure. Definitely, U Capital now is the most disruptive fintech ecosystem in the world. And this is one of our biggest goals, to create a bridge between US and European economy markets. And actually, our goal is to create a new digital ecosystem where there is no border anymore between companies, countries, economies, you know. And I think that this is the future. And until now, we have on side the financial industry, the entire financial industry keep going to use the traditional communication way, the traditional weapon, and we have on the other side the social media platform that they are now the most important communication channel in the world. You know, there is the AI revolution, and we are just to the beginning about all AI fintech solution that they are changing the financial business model, you know, into the financial industry. Actually, we are just combining all this kind of thing, and especially with U Capital 24, that it's the heart of our ecosystem, and it's a new social media platform for business people, connected with our artificial intelligence system, with fintech solution for traders, investors, companies, and our real goal is to create a new field for everyone, democratizing all the capital and financial market, but also the business. And this is a new way for European companies to approach the US market, and as well as another opportunity for all investors here in US to analyze and to select a lot of European startup or small business enterprises with a huge potential, you know. And the problem until now that there is no connection between this kind of two markets. And I believe also that there are so many other economies that they are growing now, but I believe in this country, in this economy, the US economy is the driver of the world. And but now US and European should be much more connected if they want to compete with other economy like Asian, like India. And so I think that now we gotta go very, very fast in this partnership, you know, between these two big economy, and we are just one of the next player can facilitate this kind of process.
Yeah. Do you feel like these new technologies like AI, blockchain, fintech, things like that, can that help this? Can that help that process, that bridging?
Yeah, actually, our vision, our mission from the beginning was to create, you know, I think that the social media, they are not competitor now, you know, so we are on all social media platform, you know, and U Capital 24 is a new social media for business people like LinkedIn, but with all fintech solutions. So they are focused on the job industry, and we are focused on the finance and economy. And in that case, we are making a new AI system for financial market, but also for capital markets. And actually is a service like Bloomberg, but for everyone. So our goal is to mix, you know, the communication channel with the social media, with all fintech solution for any kind of traders, companies, and investors, exactly like Bloomberg offer this service to the institutional investors. But now, I would like just to make another vision that I have, and the world is changing, everything is changing. Until now, there were just two different fields for different kind of players, big players and small players. Now, in this new world, there is just one field with the same weapon. So this is a big opportunity for all small players that could grow up very, very fast. But they need a weapon. We provide all kind of solution that they need to compete on the market. Just if you are a traders, if you are a company, if you are an investor, you know, and this is our goal, to mix and to combine AI solution with with the fintech solution for any kind of players in the world, using the social media channel as a communication way to connect each other all around the world, not just from between US and Europe, but all around the world.
Well, and that would democratize investing opportunities for people as well.
Yeah.
So, and Stefano, tell me a little bit about how you see the European economy, and in particular, I know you're an expert in the banking sector. How are things going there, would you say?
I think Europe, it's a very interesting place with very different phases. If I consider the banking system is today in Europe very solid. As European banks decided to, under the pressure of regulators and under the pressure of European Central Bank, decided in the last 10 years, so it was a very long way, to increase a lot the level of capital. So if I see the average level of capital into European banks is very high, let me say is a bit too high even, but in a certain sense it's great because it's really represent the buffer, let me say, against whatever storm or whatever crisis is going to happen. On the other way around, we have a parameter which is represented by the amount of public debt. It's a common denominator. Italy is a country with a very high level of public debt, but also France, if I saw the last 3 years, increase a lot. So we have a large amount of public debt. And so this represents a pressure on the European market because in every, let me say, geography, at the end of the day, we have a fundamental ratio, which is represented by public debt divided GDP. This is related to understand the level of sustainability of debt, but especially related to the capability of a geography to increase the GDP. In Europe, if we want, let me say, to have a perfect ratio, we have obviously to keep under control the level of debt. I'm not worried about that because it's true that the level of public debt is high in Europe, but the level of debt for families and corporates is pretty low. So it's a different composition compared, for example, to United States. But now, let me say, the big challenge for Europe is to work on the concept of GDP. It's really the concept. I see, let me say, the potential. As I mentioned before, the big plan of European Commission, the Recovery and Resilience Facility, put on the table, to be honest, a big amount of money. This is important not only in terms of money, it's fundamental in terms of guidance. Guidance means the capability to identify Europe as a great playground, for example, to attract investors for renewable energy is an incredible lab, Europe, for renewable energy. To discuss about innovation, to discuss about new infrastructure, so it's an incredible playground. The real challenge for Europe now is to unlock the value we have. And the value we have is related to the potential of many companies. They are, let me say, small and medium champions that are basically operating in every country of the world, but what is missing is the size. If we want to create a more GDP, we need to bet and to put more energy in having a bigger size of European companies. If we mention the ranking of Fortune 500, just to have in mind the list of top 500 in the world, Europe has only 19 companies, and United States have more than 100. It's interesting that in both cases, the number of top 500 is decreasing because it is increasing the number of Chinese companies. Obviously, you have to discuss about the performance, but just simply the ranking. And the destiny of Europe, it's really related to the capability of Europe to increase this number. 90 companies are great, but we need to have more companies in the list of top 500. And we have the possibility, but we need a capital. We need more attention. We need, as I said before, to create the right bridge between United States and the European playground to generate more IRR for investors and more size for top companies in Europe.
Well, thank you so much, Stefano, for explaining that. It's very interesting, and thank you as well, Gianmaria, for coming in. Thank you.